Hello all, welcome back. So today I will be continuing my yesterday's video, that is development of face and oral cavity. So in the last video I stopped till the formation of neural tube or neurulation. So we can now discuss about the mesoderm. The mesoderm, which is present between the ectoderm and endoderm, is called as intraembryonic mesoderm. The intraembryonic mesoderm on either side of the neural tube divides into three parts. From medial to lateral they are paraxial mesoderm, intermediate mesoderm, and lateral plate mesoderm. The paraxial mesoderm is located just lateral to the neural tube, and this undergoes segmentation and gets organized into segments to form somatomeres and somites. Each somatomere consists of mesodermal cells arranged in concentric rolls around the center of the unit. The first to seventh somatomere, which are located from the cephalic to aortic vesicle, do not condense to form somites. The remaining somatomeres, located caudal to the aortic vesicle, condense to form well-defined cubical block called as somites. There are about 44 pairs of somites. Out of these, 4 are occipital, 8 are cervical, 12 are thoracic, 5 are lumbar, 5 are sacral, and 8 to 10 are coccygeal. The number of somites corresponds to the number of spinal nerves in that region except for the coccygeal somites. So, this somite is triangular in shape with a small slit-like cavity in its center. This somite is divided into three parts: medial, middle, and lateral. After the paraxial mesoderm, next is the intermediate mesoderm. This forms most of the genitourinary system like kidneys, testes, ovaries, etc. After the intermediate mesoderm lies the lateral plate mesoderm. It forms body wall and body cavities. This lateral plate of mesoderm of both sides are continuous with each other. A number of cavities appear in this lateral plate of mesoderm and they fuse together to form intraembryonic coelom. This intraembryonic coelom is divided into three parts. Part anterior to the procaudal plate, which is called as pericardial cavity. Left and right limbs are called as peritoneal cavity. Canal through which both these cavities communicate is called as pericardio-peritoneal canals. Next, we can talk about the folding of embryo. It is a significant event in establishment of primitive form of human body. As a result of folding, the flat embryonic disc becomes somewhat cylindrical embryo. The folding of embryo causes the head and tail parts of the embryonic disc to get folded to head and tail fold respectively. Due to the formation of head and tail folds, the part of the yolk sac becomes enclosed within the embryo to form a long tubular structure called as primitive gut. This primitive gut forms most of the gastrointestinal tract. The primitive gut is divided into three parts: foregut, midgut, and hindgut. The midgut communicates to the yolk sac through a wide canal called as vitello-intestinal duct or yolk stalk. The folding of the sides of the embryo forms right and left folds. The lateral folds move medially and fuse to each other to form anterior abdominal wall. The center of the wall have circular aperture which represents the future umbilicus. The cranial end of the primitive gut is separated from the stomodium by buccopharyngeal membrane. The caudal to this stomodium, a series of surface elevations appear in the lateral wall of the primitive pharynx. These are called as pharyngeal arches. Initially, they are confined in the lateral wall, but gradually they extend ventrally and fuse with their counterparts of the opposite side to form horseshoe-shaped cylindrical bars. The pharyngeal arches are 5 in number. The grooves present between the pharyngeal arches are called as pharyngeal cleft and they are 4 in number. The pharyngeal arches have pouches on the inner aspect of the pharyngeal wall and they are termed as pharyngeal pouches. So, one of each pharyngeal arches consists of 4 components or structures. These include core of the mesoderm, which give rise to the muscles of head and neck region. The cartilaginous rod or bar, which forms the skeletal derivatives of the arch. The arch arteries, which are connected ventrally to the ventral aorta. the nerve of the arch which provides motor innervation to the muscles derived from the arch and sensory innervation to the skin and mucosa derived from the arch. So, as I told earlier, there are 5 pharyngeal arches. Pharyngeal arch 1, 2, 3, 4 and 6. The first pharyngeal arch gives rise to the muscles like muscles of mastication, mylohyoid muscle, tensor villi palatini, tensor tympani and anterior belly of digastric. The muscles of second pharyngeal arch include muscles of facial expression, posterior belly of digastric, stylohyoid and stapedius, while the muscles of third arch include stylopharyngeus muscle. Now we can go about the cartilages of the pharyngeal arches. The first arch cartilage is called as the Meckel's cartilage. The dorsal end of the Meckel's cartilage persists and forms 2 small bones, malleus and incus. The ventral part of the Meckel's cartilage is surrounded by mesenchyme that forms mandible by membranous ossification. The second arch cartilage is called as the Richard's cartilage. The dorsal end of the second arch cartilage ossifies to form the third ear ossicle, the stapes. The ventral part of the Richard's cartilage ossifies to form lesser cornu and upper part of the body of the hyoid bone. Next is pharyngeal pouches. There are 4 pairs of pharyngeal pouches. These are actually the evaginations of endoderm lining the interior surface of primitive pharynx between the 2 arches. Next, we will go for the pharyngeal cleft. The pharyngeal clefts are also called as pharyngeal grooves. There are 4 pharyngeal clefts which are named as 1, 2, 3 and 4. These are invaginations of the surface ectoderm between the pharyngeal arches. Only the first pharyngeal cleft gives rise to a definite structure, that is the external auditory meatus, whereas all other clefts like 2, 3 and 4 are obliterated.